What's up there, my friends? How's it going tonight? Actually, wasn't even sure how to start this video. I've been kind of pacing for an hour thinking, shameless self-promotion, talking about my own art. And I was like, I don't even know how I'll title it, but I put a lot of effort into the art I've done over the years, and I tend to be kind of shy about it. And I think a lot of people are when they're artists, and I've talked to a lot of artists that feel that way. Like they undervalue their own work and don't tend to, sell it for what it could be worth. But more than that, just don't sell it at all. You get into making stuff and you get interested. And so I wanted to share some of the creations that I've made. Christmas is coming, and of course this season, the holiday season, everyone wants to buy gifts. And last year I had a lot of inquiries about my jewelry that I make. And I am a really bad salesman, let's just put it that way, and I never got around to kind of finishing some of the final clasps and details and beads on the stuff I wanted to, like all these ones behind me. I make jewelry out of fungus. I take shelf fungus, the kind that grow off of trees, and I dry them out for like 2 or 3 years, then slice them into slices, and then put those with resin and put glow powder in there. An example would be one just like this right here. And it's basically a piece of fungus that has, I build a custom mold for each one, and then I pour resin in there that has, this one actually has turmeric in it, which is why it has red on it. But I also have ones like this, for example, which are, I'm going to do a close-up video later where I go into detail, but this is all glow-in-the-dark resin or blacklight reactive, and then this is a piece I cut out of a tree. It was a very small, what they would call a burl knob that was growing off of a tree. And so these little things, I often sell these, I give them away with the necklaces that I make. And it's a little glow, basically it's a UV light, a black light, a mini black light. Whoop! And when you shine it on these, as you can see, they start to glow. And I'm hoping this shows up as well as I can make it show up. And then these will glow in the dark for, a decent period of time. And I got really into making this blacklight resin stuff. And it's not just, I would say most of the necklaces you see me wearing, like for example this one I made, most of the ones I make myself. And I also make a lot of beaded necklaces, like this one. This is the only one that you'll see me wearing that I actually didn't make. My wife got this for me for Christmas, or my birthday last year, I think. And it's a really cool piece of like this clay that they use to make these designs. And there's 7 different crystals, and then a piece of lapis, and then what looks like orange, like a tourmaline, I think. But anyway, I'm not absolutely sure. But I just beaded it was originally on leather, and I beaded my own thing to it. But as you can see, these stick together. This is hematite, magnetic hematite. And some of the hematite I use isn't quite as magnetic. But these ones happen to be. And I have a lot of beads. I've been doing this for a really long time, making jewelry, beaded jewelry, since I was 16. So it's been almost 30 years on and off that I've been making these things. And I've never really reclaimed all the time and effort and, money I've spent on the beads. Beads are quite expensive. Resin is expensive. But I'm ready to start promoting them eventually. Now, I used to make stuff like this. I was a carpenter for years. And this is like a jewelry box I made with a resin top. And it's got alternating oak and walnut drawers. And they're pretty simple drawers. I didn't do any like catches or anything. They're very simple slides, and they're not lubricated or anything, so I haven't really worked on this in a while. But I've got a few different ones that I was working on. A big walnut one like that too, that I just never finished. But I just figured while I was at it, I'd show you a couple of my other art projects. This was one of the boxes I built using dovetail joints, and on the top, this is actually laminated, alternating, I think it was pine, poplar, walnut, and oak. pieces. There's like 3 or 4 different woods, and then they're all laminated together. And then on the bottom is walnut and oak. And then inside, it actually has a piece of granite, or I think it was granite, and it has different glow resins in various patterns there. This was like a weed box originally. And then this thing pops out here, which is another insert, and then there's a screen that goes in there too, and then another piece of granite at the bottom. And this is the kind of stuff I made for myself, but I really will eventually sell. But I wanted to show this one last thing before I get into the necklaces. It's like this was a scapula, I believe, from a cow that I found at Soak, the regional Burning Man, and it was just up on this hillside. And so I took it home with me, painted it up with a sailboat and an ocean scene, and I'm going to turn this down a little bit. I got the music up a little loud there. You can see it's got the sailboat and the ocean and everything in the sky. But then when you shine the light on it, the black light, at night, the stars show up. And it's a totally different scene. It's got the sunset, the boat glows, then down here it's got some green and the waves glow. And these are the kind of things that I just make for fun. But as always, I've always been into art, and I'm like, how am I going to make a living, selling art? And it's just not one of the... you don't hear about people who sell jewelry and necklaces and make a living, unless they're doing like high-end jewelry. And honestly, I just like to sell shit for what it's worth. So some of the stuff I make is like this. These are hair clips. Pretty simple and self-explanatory. Some are heavier than others. And they're all unique, each one. I never make two the same. This one has like a mountain range out of wood, and then a glowing top, for example. This one has several different stones I used in it. And then the trees are made out of hematite, and then it has an amber sun in there, and various stones, and then there's kind of like it's kind of like a skyline, I guess you would say. And I think this one glows too, but this one glows blue, and the ones that glow blue are a little unique because they don't show up as strong unless you're in really dark area. And then I have bangles, or bangle bracelets. Some glow more than others, but most of these have a variety of different types of mosses and lichens and plants and herbs. We've got ones with turmeric in them, and ones with cannabis, a whole lot of them with cannabis in them that I made. Like these two actually have cannabis. And let's see, what else have I got in here? I don't know if you'll be able to see these very clearly, but yeah, there's a lot of different stuff, and I've got a whole lot of different designs to choose from. So what I'm going to do is, I'm not very organized. I'm really bad with selling and paperwork and everything. So what I need to do is write everything down on a list, do a film of each one, and then mark them off the list as they're sold. Some of the ones I have over here, for example, this is shelf fungus. It looks like wood, but it's actually a fungus. And these are some of the standard ones I do with the fungus and the curved bottom. But I also do Fimo clay, and for years I did like hemp jewelry and Fimo clay, and I would sell it like at dead shows and stuff when I went. So designs like this, like just, background like an eyeball and stuff. Actually, this one was being repaired, so I need to put a new clasp on it. But I also made this one, and the reason I'm showing these, this is from Blaze. He's one of my subscribers. I don't know where Blaze is at or how you've been, but if you're out there, brother, hope you're doing well. And he sent me this Flower of Life wooden pendant. It was kind of like a wooden coin, I guess, if you would, like a silver dollar size. So I embedded it in Fimo clay, baked it. Then I embedded that in resin, and then made my own kind of medallion out of it. And I've always been a little gaudy when it comes to wearing, jewelry. I mean, I'll wear something like this. It's huge, huge chunk. But some of the ones I make, for example, if I can get one off here. So most of the necklaces that I'm making, and the reason I didn't have them for sale last year is I wasn't confident enough with the clasps I was using yet. So I'm using the bar and eyelet design now. This one is like a piece of petrified wood with some Fimo and some various other beads. But I really love these because the bar just fits through the eye, pulls through a little bit, and they stay locked on amazingly well. I was always afraid that these might fall off or something, but they don't. And, whoops. Well, that's not good. Guess I should have hooked it first. So anyhow, I'm going to make a video in a couple days showing all the various different designs that I have. And hopefully I'll be able to use PayPal for these, even though I can't use it for my herb business. I can use it for these if people want to buy them. I have some that have like opal in them. Like this one right here has opal, which is on a dinosaur, bone fossilized. Like when bone gets fossilized, it can look really glossy and shiny when it's polished. And then resin around that with like different types of lichen in there. Some of them are just simple, petrified wood, and I know you can't see those very well, but that doesn't matter because there's no point in going into it. We just love art in this house, and my niece came over yesterday, my wife's niece, so my niece-in-law, I guess, and she was showing us how to do this art that they've been doing with spray paint. And so the kids decided to make these spray painted like galaxy pictures. And so this is what my 7-year-old son made yesterday. This one and this one. So let me tell you something. If you're an adult and you think, I can't do art, there are a million forms of art that you can do. And he did this in like 10 minutes, 5 minutes. It's just a process of setting a paint can down to paint around the planet and the moon, and then filling that in. I was highly impressed with the quality that they were getting, out of just using spray paint and some basic techniques. And so art is a major important thing in our family. So the last two things I wanted to actually have these sitting here. This is a walking stick that I'm working on right now. Except for the EL wire, which actually doesn't belong on there. That won't stay. And the EL wire is this stuff. It's the glow-in-the-dark wire. I just put it on there for fun. But this is a deer jaw I found in Montana. And then I epoxied the teeth in so they were in nice and tight. Crystal here, I'm going to wrap it with some really nice leather. And then do a handle and stones all the way down. Kind of like this one. This one was done in resin. I'm not nearly finished yet. Still got some empty voids here. But I need to put a handle on here. In the top, I have a separate detachable piece, which is a really cool piece of root wood, burl wood that I found. I actually broke it in half and then reconnected it with a seal so I could add a resin, a glow-in-the-dark resin, which is blacklight reactive. That fits right in the top there. It's got a cannabis resin ring around it. It's going to have a better handle. It's got a snake stone that I got when I was a kid in my stocking when I was like 12. A piece of jade that I cut down into a teardrop shape that I got from Blaze. And then a gear on top of that. And then this little face, which I know you probably can't see, but it's like my favorite part of the whole thing. Maybe you'll be able to, if I move it around a little bit, maybe you'll be able to see the face in here. And it was carved into like a little hole in the stick, and then it was filled with resin with glow powder behind it. So at night it can actually glow in the dark. It looks really cool. And then one of my big ass teeth here from when I got it pulled. And then a variety of different little colors and like shapes and whatnot. Then it's covered with a layer of resin, not just it's like, hardcore stuff, not just like a spray, stuff. It's drenched. And just like most of the hair clips and everything else, a lot of them glow in the dark. I guess if I turn the light away, it would probably help, but I'll give you a better example of what they look like here. And it's really cool when you're like at an event or something and you're wearing these under a black light. People are like, damn, where'd you get that? I'm like, I got it from me. So thanks for watching. Thanks for looking at my art projects and the things that I'm interested in. And I'm hoping that once I put these up for sale and put a little focus behind getting organized here, I've had a lot of people who have been interested in them, and so I feel it's only necessary that I'm going to spend all this time and money and effort to make this jewelry. I should probably put it up for sale. And since the holidays are coming, what better time? So, shameless self-promotion, but I still feel awkward doing it, and thanks for listening, and I will probably post something in the next, couple weeks pertaining to the details. And what I think I'll do is go over each one, explain, briefly, like a 10 seconds on each one, and have numbers on them so people can order them properly. Because if I put them on my website, I can't use PayPal through my website, and it gets all complicated. So the herb thing is separate, and I can't accept PayPal for herbs, but I can for jewelry. So anyhow, thanks for watching. Talk to y'all soon. What else have I got to say? Anything else? No. Art's just awesome. Make stuff. Make stuff. Be well.